on YouTube.
We are live on Facebook.
Okay. Share Rama time.
Okay.
Share Rama.
And intro loading on deck 1. And we're going to go live after this commercial.
Okay, so we can share it now on Facebook. Right on. Walk on.
Hey,
Facebook audience, go share this to your own Facebook profile.
share, share, share. On centerright.live.
All right, quiet here. We're going live. Watch for my cue.
Get your guac on now because it's time for the Chips and Salsa Show. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. I am one of your hosts, Alice Lara, getting my guac on along with.
Don Jorge Lalacran.
He is the Green Scorpion. He is
The
Master
deplorable.
George.
Hillary's the deplorable.
He's everything and anything you want to be. How you feeling, George? How's your little tooth? You feel better?
Yeah, the meds are kind of kicking in and giving me an upset stomach, but I am ready for the show.
So, like, are you on drugs now, man?
I'm on
Still?
drugs, man.
Okay.
I'm on those opioids that
Uh-oh.
that Trump wants to eliminate.
We're in trouble now.
No,
boy.
no,
This
it's
is
just
gonna be an
mild
interesting
pain
show.
relievers. That's all. Nothing major.
Good.
No Oxycontins or Valiums or anything.
Good.
I wish, but nope.
Great. Well, we got to get you well and
Yeah,
healed
I
up.
don't like drugs anyway.
Hey, we have a really hot show today.
Yes, we do.
We're going to be bringing in here in just a few minutes our guest. We have Charles Loftus with us. He is running for the Arizona State Senate Legislative District number 20. That's Kimberly Yeasey. Kimberly is actually running for Arizona State Treasurer now, so that opens up. So he's one of the Republicans running, and we're going to welcome him in here in just a little bit. Also, if you're watching us on Facebook, and please watch us on Facebook, Chips, Litter, and Salsa Show. He has his junior campaign manager, Charlie Jr., here with us, too, so he's in the hot seat as well. And then what we're going to do, we're going to talk about campaign. He also has a great background, and we can talk about security and stuff at the border, so you will not want to miss that. And then also, coming in the second part of the show, we have our good friend back. That's Reverend Clyde Bowen. George?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great guess.
And the reason we're having him, and as some of our audience already knows, he's with ARC. That's the Arizona American African Republican Committee. And he's going to talk about, 50 years ago, we just unfortunately celebrated the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And Reverend Bowen was a young man at that time. So he's going to take us back and talk about that. That was then and this is now. So I think it's going to be a really good show. Plus, we have the Prison Point, cocotazos, the whole enchilada, everything you want to start your Saturday evening, afternoon. What do you say, George? Yeah?
I think it's going to be a great show, and the viewers are going to really enjoy it.
All right. Well, I'd like to give some kudos here to our wonderful director and owner and founder of Central Right Radio. That's Brandon Jones. Hey, yeah, Brandon, rocking and rolling. He also happens to be our legislative district chairman. That's legislative district number 27. That's my own chairman. Also, we have our assistant director and Steve. Steve's rocking it back there with his Make America Strong hat again. Very nice, very nice. I just want to give kudos to our producer, Sonia. She is such a wonderful woman because every week she puts together our cocotazos and a list of the whole enchilada. And she does all kinds of good stuff for us. Keeps up with our Facebook page, and we love her very much. So thank you, Sonia. Appreciate it. Want to just give some remarks about my nephew, David Beasley, because he's the one that wrote that rockin' music. And he's very talented, not just because he's my nephew, but I just love him. It's David Beasley. And our, if you check out our website too, or our Facebook page, you'll see our beautiful logo because George and I in the molcajete. And that was created by my great niece, Monica Lara. So that's a whole family going on there, right, George?
Yep.
George, you have any birthdays? Anybody's birthday today?
No, not
Nobody's
no.
birthday? Nobody has a birthday in here? Oh, it's kind of boring, huh? For April. I've got my little great nephews coming up, but it's not for a while. But Jacob, I'll just give you a little extra happy birthday there since we don't have one to mention today. Let's see, what else? Do you want to make some announcements? Next week, please, don't forget, we're going to have Moses Sanchez in, and he's running for the Phoenix City Mayor.
Mayor of Phoenix.
And that's going to be a great, great interview. George, did you want to talk about this?
Yes, next Saturday, or not next Saturday, but on 28th, we have Lincoln, the MCR, Maricopa County Republicans are having their Lincoln Day Luncheon for committee precinct committeeman recognition. With our guest speaker is going to be United States Congressman Jim Jordan, and he's a co-founder, first chairman of the House Freedom Caucus. He's a great speaker, and it's going to be a great luncheon. And there's still tickets available. Contact your www.maricopagop.org. Again, www.maricopagop.org, and get your ticket if you can, and join us for that luncheon. It's going to be great. It's on the 28th.
Right on. Also, we're going to be giving away some tickets for Laugh for Hope. And if you're interested, please either go on Facebook and let Steve know so you kind of watch this for us. Say, yeah, I want those tickets. This is really good. These are $25 tickets, and that's going to happen on April 13th. I'm going to hand that to Steve so you can get a little better shot
There's
about that.
two of them available, so.
Yeah, and that's two seats. They're $25 each. And what this is, it benefits Life Choices Women's Clinic. They are a great clinic. We've had their executive director, Tanya Krasinski, on. Tell us all about it. And these comedians, they do this every year, George, and they bring in wonderful, very talented comedians. And this is a clean show. So like Charles, if you wanted to bring Charlie, it's clean. You don't have to worry about horrible stuff happening there. And they're featuring this time around Carlos Oscar, who I guess he's going to have he's working on a sitcom, George.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be pretty good. Also Kirsten Weber and Claiborne Cox. So if you want to purchase some tickets, you can go to laugh4hopephx.com. That's laugh4hopephx.com. Or you can call for your tickets, and that's 602-305-5100. 602-305-5100. And we would love for you to do that. It's benefiting Life Choices Women's Clinic. But again, if you're interested, we have 2 tickets. Why not go free? And you can go free. And just go to our Facebook page. That's Chips, letter N, Salsa Show. Or shoot me an email. That's alice@chipsandsalsashow.com. That's chips, letter N, salsashow.com. And we'll make you eligible for the tickets. And if you don't win the tickets, we can talk to you anyway. No worries. It's all good. Please also, one more thing I want to ask you to do, Chipsters, and we really do appreciate your support. If you're watching us on Facebook, if you could share this to your Facebook page, that would be so wonderful because that helps us spread the word and get it out there because we are growing. We're really growing, George, aren't we? If you happen to want to sponsor us too, email me at alice@chipsandsalsashow.com. I'd be happy to set you up. We have very, very affordable rates for advertising, don't we, George?
Yep, very affordable.
Let's see, we have the Prather Point. Should we maybe do the Prather Point now, George? What do you think? What would
I
you like
think
to
it's a
do?
good idea.
Okay, so kind of
If our directors out there think it's a good idea.
if it's the first time that you've ever listened to our show, Jeff Prather does this weekly feature for us, and Jeff Prather is actually based out of Tucson. He's a fast and furious whistleblower. He still has some connections there to the dark side, the dark state, and he gets all kinds of good information. So he keeps us posted on what's going on. So without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to Brandon for Jeff Prather with the Prather Point.
Okay, Facebook, we're going to try something old school here. See if it doesn't work. Oh, here. There we go. There you go, Facebook. You can hear it.
They're just going to continue to push this. The Mueller investigation is going to come out with some kind of report, very similar to.
And the YouTube folk, you guys are still waiting till next time.
We'll get it all squared away.
You can hear it on centerright.live.
Yeah, sound glad.
YouTube shooter that the left does not spend any time criticizing. Why? Well, because trying to send Muslim, Peter supporter, and all those are left-wing causes. So no talk about Ben Peter who is killing children like that. And then thirdly, we have the left-wing propaganda press calling Donald Trump a liar for saying that there are rapes and rapists in the smuggling corridors coming up from Central America through Mexico. When I was regularly on the Tucson radio, I talked extensively about this, that there is women's underwear hanging on rape trees and rape fields, and there are rape houses all in the United States, that there are ranchers that are the screams of women and children at night, and how the Obama-sponsored invasion, we weren't allowed to talk to them because they would have told us what was actually happening to them. Again, I've worked extensively through Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, all the way down to Chile, to South America. And the idea that campesinos could find their way up through the corridor to find their relatives were brought up by friendly cartel members who control the corridors is absurd. So it's not Trump who's lying, it's the left who is lying. Why are they coming here anyway? It's to get away from bad conditions because we no longer have the DEA snowcap program I was in Central America. We no longer have the emphasis on Army Special Forces and Civil Affairs in Central America. So again, Trump's telling the truth, left-wing's lying, nothing new there. And unfortunately, Mueller is probably moving towards a report that recommends impeachment on the program. Anyway, for Prather, I have a Prather pizza date coming up. If you're interested in that, it's in June. So call 520-241-7692. Reserve your place. Thanks.
Stand by.
Everybody, Jeff Prather here, FTW Insider.
And you're back.
And that was the Prather point, and hopefully we tried something a little bit different, and hopefully you guys on Facebook could hear it. So, George, what did Jeff Prather say? Trump telling the truth once again, right?
He's on the hoop?
No, telling the truth.
Oh, yeah.
He's on the.
I thought you said the truth.
No, oh, you're focused on your teeth, aren't you? Yeah, that's what happened. Telling the truth.
The truth. Yeah, he's spot on. Everything he's saying, people just don't give him credit where he the man is good. I like him as president, and I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah, it's so refreshing, I'll tell you what. All right, my director, we have what, do 30 things about, okay, I want you guys to stay tuned because coming up, we have a really good guest with Charles Loftus. He's running in Legislative District 20 here in Arizona, and he can talk all about security stuff at the border. It's gonna be great. Do not go away. I'm Alice Ladowit.
Okay.
Stay tuned for more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio and Center Right Live. Don't go away. Okay.
And you're clear?
This segment is brought to you by One Truth, one of our sponsors. They're on iTunes. Go to iTunes for One Truth with JC Gonzalez and download this video. You can download the songs from this video, which includes Inferno, one of their good songs that I like. And they have so many other songs. They got more than the variety of songs that you see on the video here, because they've come out with more songs since the video was or the CD was produced. So go on iTunes under One Truth with JC Gonzalez and download some of the music. Check it out. I think you'll like it. That and
Oops, I'll do it, sorry.
Don't forget Jana Jackson for Kids Foundation. It's online now at www.janajacksonforkids.org. She's keeping her promises with this foundation, helping kids with knowledge, integrity, discipline, and spirituality. The foundation is growing by leaps and bounds, and you'll hear more about it in the future. Alice mentioned the Laugh for Hope. And let's see. On Memorial Day, which is a little ways down the road there, we want you to join us at the Phoenix National Cemetery at 6 a.m. and with the Writers USA. And what they do is they put flags all along the road up to the cemetery, and people pay for those flags to represent different veterans that have passed away. You can donate, and we'll give you more information in the future. And this is sponsored by Bikers USA, Writers USA, and they've had it for quite a few years. So stay tuned for a lot more news on that. It's going to be a great event and a good honoring our veterans on Memorial Day. So we'll give you more information about it in the near future. Alice.
Thank you, George, and make sure that you share. I was just showing. That's hard to say. Make sure you share. I was just showing Charles how to do that. You just go to the Chips Letter and Salsa Show, our Facebook page, and when you get to our little broadcast here, then you can share it and then you can play it. It's all good. And of course, if Facebook isn't your thing, and you have to leave Facebook for some reason, maybe you want to go to your big screen computer and watch it from there. You can go to Center Right Radio directly and go to centerright.live. You don't have to worry about putting the www. Centerright.live, and then you'll get a little hosted menu, and you can watch live, and click it, and you can watch us. And if you missed any part of the broadcast, a really cool thing is, Brandon, that's okay, he keeps it there, so you can go down and you can watch our past shows. You can watch, George, you can watch George Twiddle's thumbs last time. It was mesmerizing.
I'm listening to that race.
Coming back in 15.
And I think War Horse Agency won again.
Wins every time. Stand by.
Hey, we're back. Welcome back to the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lada, one of your hosts with.
Jorge, the deplorable one from Hillary's deplorable Trumpistas and El Alacran.
Yes, he is. And George is also chairman of Legislative District number
19. And we had a meeting today with the state board, the state executive board, at the Pebble Creek Golf Club, and our agenda and the state agenda and what they're planning to do, and that was a great meeting that we had. Thanks to our chairman, Jonathan Lyons, and all the people that attended it, all the chairmen from different areas that attended it. And I just wanted to make mention of that.
Excellent. Good. Well, we're very pleased that we have a great guest in the studio. Welcome, Charles Loftus. Am I saying your last name right?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, Charles Loftus. And if you're watching us on Facebook, he brought in Junior, Charles Jr., so he's sitting right next to him. So this one's running for office, not him. Okay, all right. We do want young people, but you're just, what, 15, 16?
16.
16, okay, thank you.
Just a few more years.
All right, well, thanks for coming in to be on the show. I'm just going to read this because this is kind of what you sent to me to be on the show, which it just kind of gives everything here. When Charles contacted us, he's actually a 30-plus year peace officer here in Arizona, and he has family roots that are well entrenched in Arizona and American Southwest history. He was born in Nogales, and for those of you who may not be familiar, that's right on the border of Arizona and Mexico, and he lived in Patagonia, Arizona, and then Phoenix. In 2008, he started with the Arizona Attorney General's office under Terry Goddard. He served under Tom Horn and left the AG's office in 2016 under Arizona Attorney General Brnovich, and he accepted the chief agent position at DES. While he was at the AG's office, he was over statewide narcotics, RICO, Medicaid fraud, and public corruption units, JTTF, and at the peak he had around 40 agents and supervisors reporting to him. Presently he is faculty for the ASU School of Criminology and Criminal Justice and the faculty advisor for the College Republicans United. He teaches courses including counterterrorism, white-collar crime, and organized crime. He is the director of the ASU Counterterrorism Study Abroad program, and he started this program along with his wife, who's also an ASU faculty, and while working part-time at ASU in 2008. The program takes a group of ASU students to Israel every summer for counterterror education, and this summer will be their 11th year teaching the program. Lastly, he is a candidate. It's not lastly, but it's one of the reasons we're having him on here, for State Senate LD20. It's conservative, and I think he's going to be a very good interview. So I do want to talk so much. There's a lot of things I want to ask you, but of course, what George and I always like to ask, because you're running for offices, tell us why, Charles? Why are you running for office? Why do you want to put yourself out there in politics?
Well, my whole career has been public service. I started police work at 18 years old. Actually, I went in the academy at 18 years old and graduated at 19. I was one of those kids that was able to go and become a cop before they changed the law. And Jerry Sheridan from the sheriff's office is another one. There's quite a few people who started very, very young. The law now is 21. So I was able to have a full career of serving our state in various capacities, and some very important capacities, by the way. And now that I'm out of police work for the most part, teaching is a very important job, but I still have this desire to serve. And I look at this 36 years actually, this 36 years of service is sort of a internship to help the legislature make good decisions. I'm used to making decisions. In the legislature, you have an opinion. And for once, I can make my opinion well known.
Well, good deal. Great. And you do have, just for full disclosure, there is another Republican candidate, and the Chips also show we are fair. So that candidate is feel free to reach out to us if they would like to be on as
Yes.
well. Because we're, I know an equal opportunity.
We'll have all the candidates here. All they gotta do is show up.
Yeah, we don't really, we're not. If you would like to be on, just contact me. I'll get out my email. It's alice@chipsletteringsalsashow.com. Okay, so we will talk about your candidacy, but because of your background, oh, also you had told me before we got on the program that you also teach gun instruction
Yes,
and concealed carry.
yes.
But because of, and that's just some sound effects, Steve, trying to wake us up there. and
Holy
keep us,
moly.
in
That
gear.
was sexy Steve that back there.
Sexy Steve.
I'm waking George up, keeping him asleep.
But I'm not gonna be like, did you guys see the one gal on TV?
Has he been taking my meds?
And somebody opened up a can of Coke, and she said, oh, is that a gunshot? Did you see that? I wasn't worried. I knew
Oh,
that was not a
sorry.
gunshot. But speaking of that, you have a lot of expertise
Sorry,
as far as terrorism and things on the border. This week, our president said, you know what? I'm sending our guys down there to the border. You want to give us your thoughts on that?
If you've ever worked with the Border Patrol and ICE, DHS down in the southern border, they're busy. They are very busy. And if they can take any type of responsibility away from the uniformed sworn individuals, especially in evidence capabilities or intelligence capabilities, our military is excellent at gaining intelligence. We have all types of resources that can be made available to the Border Patrol that the military can convey. The military is good at hiding, and watching, and reporting. Okay, they're also designed to fight, but they also specialize units in that area of gaining intelligence. And they can certainly help our Border Patrol in that area. And in large cases, when we know that we have intelligence that the individuals are bringing certain loads across or certain individuals, we can watch for those particular individuals rather than arresting the wrong group, going after the wrong group. We want higher value targets. We can go after the higher value targets. It's absolutely the best idea that we've had out here. So
And Bush had it, and Obama had it. So it's like it's nothing new. So the people that are making a big deal out of it just got, they just got to come down to earth. It was done. Nobody complained about it when Bush did it. Nobody complained about it when Obama did it. So Trump's not doing anything new. So
I heard on the news that they said that the military, or National Guard, they're going to have weapons for self-defense. Well, that's good.
should.
they're not offensive, they're not gonna be shooting anybody, going after any type of
It's
combat.
self-defense.
Self-defense, that's what the weapons are
Exactly
for,
what it's-
self-defense.
Exactly what it says,
What,
self-defense.
what a concept, huh?
I know.
So, and that's good. I mean, of course, the left is trying to criticize our own and my own congressman, Ruben Gallego. He, of course, thinks it's not a good idea, but you have to think that they are, whatever it is, they have to oppose us.
Very sorry to see him take that position. It's sort of consistent in his, I think that's how he got elected, and he has to maintain that type of position for his base. I've had some encounters with him when I was at the AG's office, and he was a local representative,
Yes,
and
state
I wasn't that impressed. But I think he thinks he's doing the right thing. I think he's misguided.
All right. Now let's, because we don't have a lot of time, let's ask about the state stuff. So within your district, that's District 20, and we found out that's actually my old district. So I used to live up on I-17, the Thunderbird area, and that's a really nice district. Why do you think that you will be a better candidate, and what needs to really change up there? Why do you want to represent that particular?
Well, the district has predominantly been red. There's some threats of it being purple, but it's predominantly been red. So whoever wins this race will go on to be the state senator for that position, more than likely unless something happens. I watched the history of my opponent. I think I would represent the values of the red community much more. I am not a lobbyist. I'll never be a lobbyist. I think that if you work for a company and that company receives tax money and you're on committees or the chair of a committee, you should register as a lobbyist because essentially you're controlling the money and the laws for that industry, and I think that's wrong. So I think not only am I have more conservative beliefs, but I think the values that I have, I'm not going to sell my values short.
You've been a lifelong Republican?
Lifelong? No, I have not. My family is Democrats. My dad was a mayor in Arizona. He voted in the Kennedy election as an electorate in Santa Cruz County. And so when I turned 18, this is a funny story. When I turned 18, I said to my dad, I said, "Hey, Dad, what are we?" Because 18-year-olds really don't know what the big difference between Republicans and Democrats are. And he goes, "Our family's always been Democrats." So the next election, I think, was the Reagan election, and I go, "Let's go vote." And my dad goes, I go, "Who'd you vote for, Dad?" He goes, "Reagan." And I go, "You said you're a Democrat." And he goes, "Yeah, but I always vote Republican." And so by that time I had already registered as a Democrat. So a few years later I changed my party affiliation to reflect my conscience.
That's a great story. I really
It's
like that.
true.
And full disclosure, because we were talking before the show, and I like to call you, this is in good jest, a quarter pounder, because I'm French, a quarter Mexican. So hey, you know what? It's already time to end of the second segment. We'll be right back with more Charles. We're going to bring Reverend Bowen in here. Alice Slaughter-Witt,
Jorge.
don't go away. We'll be back with more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio.
You're clear?
I want to remind our Facebook audience that One Truth is one of our sponsors. We want you to go to iTunes if you so desire and check them out. Check out their songs. Baby Flowers, Burned Alive, I Will Die For You, Rapture, The Cage, XTC, Inferno, the many more other songs that they have. Check them out. A progressive rock group from Virginia that's been sponsoring our show
Oh,
for
it's
many
Charles
years.
Stan?
So we would like you to
Oh, okay.
we would like you to go to iTunes and check them out. It's they have CDs available, and you can download a CD or one of their songs and just check them out. Thank you.
I'm sorry, George, because we'll just exchange. We'll come back because we didn't get to give your information out. We'll finish you up and then we'll go.
Good. Good for you, my
And
man.
we'll keep you, and we can do the full process.
I can do that twice. anything important petition time, please go to my website.
You can talk to Facebook right
Oh,
now.
Oh, you haven't been to this one yet.
No, I'm.
So go ahead and hop in. We got, 2 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. What are you looking for?
I have a second son.
Hi.
That's Charles.
No, no, it's there. I put it
Hi,
outside.
good to meet you.
It's under the thing.
No, we'll just wait till we come back.
So go ahead and hop in and then, grab the headset.
Okay.
Don't wanna knock this out.
A little cozy here.
Yeah.
So it is.
Okay.
And then, so don't pull the mic. Stay about, 6 inches or so from there.
Okay.
And then, wow, where the chair shrink, huh? And then this is the second one there.
All right, we gotta get live here.
Okay.
shortly.
We're gonna come back, we're gonna finish him off in a
Mhm.
minute, then we're gonna go to you, he's gonna stay here, and then the last segment, we're gonna all join and do the.
Sure.
Thanks. I loved your story, because my first election was Reagan too, but I was an independent. Then I became a Democrat, and then when I paid attention, became a Republican.
All right, guys, 30 seconds. We're coming in hot.
He was chairman of the statewide elections committee in the Democratic Party.
Thank you.
Was he Charles also? Was it Charles?
Edward.
Edward.
Yeah, Eduardo,
Eduardo.
but no, he didn't like that name, but he liked Edward.
15 seconds. Stand by.
Ready?
Watch for my cue.
And we're back with the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara with
Don Jorge, el Alacrán.
is the deplorable man. And George, you feeling okay? Feeling a little better with your drugs?
Oh, I'm much better. I think the meds kicked in.
Okay, great. Hey, we just
Steve
wanted
woke me
to, we wanted to just finish up. We were talking to Charles Loftus last segment, and we are going to bring Reverend Bowen in. But Charles, we want to give you an opportunity to give your information out for anybody who wanted to contact you.
Great, thank you. My contact on the website is www.loftus4az.com, and that's the last name. It's Loftus, Loftus, the number 4, az.com. And what's really important right now is we're getting down to crunch time for petitions. So if you're in LD20, basically between Oliver Dunlap and Bell Road, 67th Avenue, and about Cave Creek Road, you're in this district. Please go up to the website, and there's a Secretary of State web page, and click on there and authorize me as to be on the ballot for the primary in August. It's easy, simple. It just takes a minute and your driver's license number.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I understand that's a really easy way to do things, and that way you don't have to, as PCs, we go and collect signatures by hand, but if you could just do that on the computer, man, that's pretty cool. So
It's non-challengeable as well.
Oh,
So the Secretary of State automatically authorizes it as a valid signature. So if there's any opponents, it's not a challengeable signature.
that's good information.
How do you know how many you get daily? Do you have some kind of way to go online? And
You can go up online and look at everyone who signed the petition. And also you can provide your email address to the candidate if you want to have updates and stuff like that.
Good deal. Thank you, Charles.
Great gig.
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to keep Charles with us. We're going to talk to the Reverend Bowen, and then our last segment. Don't worry, we are going to get to the cocotazos and the whole enchilada. And Chipsters, we really appreciate you listening to us today or watching us on Facebook. Welcome, Reverend Clyde Bowen. Welcome back.
Hey, hi guys. I'm so glad to be here. Let me begin by thanking all of you that participated in Alice and George in the Emancipation Proclamation Observance Day. Black History Month, as important as ever, perhaps more important than ever, because we also had an opportunity to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King. I believe that you've asked me on this particular 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination to perhaps weigh in with some comments. And I actually was led by God to look in a newspaper and see under Benson's View, Steve Benson, a cartoon that shows a person of color talking to a woman. He asked her, "How did you spend the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination?" And she says, "Listening to right-wingers lie about how they admired him." Well, Alice, that kind of thing
I had not
upsets me.
seen that cartoon until you sent it to me last night, because you know what? Not very many people read the paper anymore. They don't get the paper.
Print is dead, but not in my house.
But this is really something. I'm so glad you brought it to my attention. So, of course, this is probably not your favorite cartoon.
Well, it's particularly upsetting to, I believe, we conservatives, because we need to remind people that Dr. Martin Luther King actually used what we would consider now Republican principles to talk to folks. His idea of "I have a dream," where he stood on the shoulders or in the shadow of Abraham Lincoln, and the things that he talked about, he came from and you guys know this, but he came from a strict Republican household. His father was a Republican in Georgia. He was raised in a situation, in an environment where there had been 600 lynchings in Georgia. People can go and find that out. There were about 4,000 lynchings in the South. And they said 50% of them were unnecessary, and I'm sure there were more than 4,000. But in that environment, this man of love grew up. And his message to the world, they celebrate him in 140 countries, his message to the world about the content of a person's character. That's what I'd like to get to, the content of a person's character. Dr. King talked about that. We Republicans talk about that. The Democrats would have us talk about color and racism and these sorts of things. But if you look at the content of a person's character, you can go back in history and see where that has always been the right way. This also being an election year, Dr. King said the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. That's probably this year, right, with the elections coming up, that we all need to get on deck. So I saw this in the paper, but then I saw it again on CNN, then I heard it again on MSNBC. The left is so afraid that people will start to listen to them and listen to us and understand who we are through Dr. King. We're not telling lies about Dr. King. I think we're absorbing the universal message that Dr. King had. Sure, we feel good about him having a Republican father and those sorts of things, but they care about him all over the world for the man that he was. And I'll just leave with that. I was in Oslo, Norway in 1968 when Dr. King got shot. I got there 2 years after Dr. King got his Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. I was the first black person of color at the United States Embassy. That was a complete experience. Therefore, when he got shot in 1968, I was almost like the little black ambassador. Everybody came to me to find out what I felt about that. Well, we all had an opportunity to cry together. Anytime we lose a life, it's terrible. Losing this life was particularly terrible. And when I wrote back to my friends in Boston and around America, and I said, what's going on in America? You know, you guys were 68 was a very, very violent year.
Tumultuous
year. And they just sent me back 3 words: bring a gun.
Wow. Is that right?
Wow.
Well, how old were you, if you don't mind me asking? Because I was about, let's see, I would have been 9 years old. I would be 10 years old in December of 68. How old were you?
I was 23 when I went to Oslo, 25-ish when that happened. I came back in 1969. I did actually bring back a gun. I brought back a Walther PPK. They told me when you get to the desk there, you should tell them you have a gun. And so, yeah, I know you're all gonna laugh, but I thought, well, you know, I got a diplomatic passport. I don't have to. They said, well, you know, it's a good idea. So I landed in Boston, Logan International Airport, and I walked up to the desk and I said, they told me to tell you I have a gun. They pressed a button. I saw people scrambling and dodging, and the next thing I knew, they tackled me and I was on the ground.
Oh my God.
And they sent my gun to Tucson. And they knew I was coming to Phoenix. And so I had to go all the way from Phoenix to Tucson to pick my weapon up that I brought back from Oslo for no particular reason that I could think of. Maybe I didn't measure the content of the character thing, having been at the United States Embassy for 4 years with the Air Force. So yeah, I was about 25 when that went down. But
Do you think it may be the way you said it? I got a gun, or was it?
Well, they said to notify you that I have. I mean, I didn't know how else to put it
Told
back
you
then.
to say that.
I was just a straight literal guy. You know, I know I'm a suspect and etc. You know, but I didn't have it on me. It was in my bag and everything. They just said to let them know.
Okay,
And
that
it wasn't
time.
like, I have a gun, and you better give me
At
something.
that time, though, do they have the security systems that we have now? They didn't have that, did they?
No, they pressed a button and an alarm went off, and there was a big loud clanging, I remember, all over the place. And I remember there was like a catwalk, and I looked up and I noticed the people looking down at me and kind of ducking down. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well, I've been black a long time, so I was one of my first, harassed while black kind of thing. That's a whole nother thing. But I did want to mention that, and did want to mention that about Dr. King, and let everybody out there, don't let them back you down. One thing that we can say about our great president is when things get tough, he doubles down. So when I see stuff like this, and I listen to people, and I listen to these talking heads on the left talking about Dr. King and how we're lying, I would submit that they're more likely the liars and more likely the problem.
But didn't he say his wish was always that a black and white would hold hands together, and all races would hold hands together as one? He wasn't.
No.
He never preached division.
No, his
And,
dream. Well, this is thank you,
Right.
George, because that's exactly what we said. Johnny and I, and who happens to be white, so I have been practicing Dr. King's message for the last 42 years. I have you people know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 42 to life. So
That's your first life, yeah.
he knew, and we know, the only way to stop what's happening with violence and racism is what he said: integration. And what it looks like on television, if anybody's turned on the tube lately, I've never seen more relationships, interracial relationships. You can't tell who is who. We watched a show called, I think it was Deception, one of the shows. And I don't know if they deliberately hired everybody, but you couldn't tell particularly if they were black, white, or what. They were just blended individuals. And we see that more and more. And we saw that in Europe. They had to marry their royalty. That's what happened in England. Those people were really German. They took the guy who was Greek, Lord Mountbatten, made him Prince Philip. So they've been doing it for years because they understand unless we really get together, we're just going to continue to not understand one another and continue to snipe at each other.
Well, you have put all of that so well, and that's why we had you on, because we wanted us 50 years. I can't believe it's been 50 years already that happened. So we want to do that was then, and this is now. Okay, we still got one more segment. We're going to keep Reverend Bowen and Charles Loftus with us. I'm Alice Lotta with George Ortiz. So we'll be back with more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio. CenterRight.live. Don't go away, because we got more to guac on with.
And you're clear?
Okay, our Facebook audience, I want you to,
Is it okay if I
want to
mention
remind
that?
you again of One Truth. Go
That's great
online
news.
It's
on iTunes.
the thing, again,
And,
with human trafficking.
Look up for One Truth with JC Gonzalez and check out their video. Check out their CD and their video, because they got videos on their CDs. So check them out. Check out the music. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, you know what? I'll bring it back, and then you can talk about that, because that is really good stuff. Did you see that?
Oh, this is
Yeah.
enormous news.
Take
because,
down back page.
As hard as
That was what's your face?
Uh, It was that newspaper here.
Didn't
but
Cinema get
New Times.
No,
No.
it was the Batsabee.
Oh.
Batsabee had backpage.com on it. And New Times did too for a while, but that's right, you're
it
right.
started with
New Times, yeah. I remember when I went to ASU when we used to read New Times back in the day.
And they spun off and they separated from New Times.
But
Kathleen Wynne is a big champion of the sex trafficking. And when I was at the AG's office, she was there, and we were just starting to look into that when the Blumenowitz came in and everything stopped. Well, actually, yeah.
$500 million they said they made since 2004, pimping out young girls. Wow.
This is
500 million.
And this is, the left doesn't ever like to talk about that.
Well,
That's like, everything's okay with that.
well, they're not part of the solution. They're part of the problem. No
I
doubt
was
about it.
just sitting here listening to you guys talk, just kind of like fly on the wall, And I was like, this makes perfect sense why they want that division, because if anybody ever sees this, they're like, they would be like, the dream is real. Like it would ruin everything for them. They would
Exactly.
never be able to run on
The race
all those
wars.
cards, right?
Well, right,
They just
right,
wouldn't be
Because
able to.
it's all race wars. I mean, Obama pushed race. Like the first thing he talked about, he tried to pit people
Well, they're
against
trying
each
to
other.
divide us up.
And
Well,
it's wrong.
That's why
It's
our
pretty
program
obvious.
is so important. And
Yes.
we have to show our colors, if you speak.
Blacks, Hispanics, and whites cannot be divided. We're one. we're one in this country, and by dividing us, they create race wars, and it's not the right thing to do.
Well, they keep ignorance is what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
Ignorance is what the problem really is.
They
'Cause
go
if you
against the
learn,
minds
you
that
know
they-
better.
Let's not forget about fear.
In
go
fear.
against-
So because you know
Yeah.
that's what we do. We build community with the black community, and as you know, Clovis Campbell couldn't keep his word. No show, no call to stand up. I mean, he's supposed to be one of the heads of the black community, and he's so afraid he can't even come to EPOD to just say something down the middle.
Yeah, didn't he come one year? Thought he came. Didn't he come one year?
He might have been there the first year. Reverend Stewart. The first year we had a lot of good participation, and I told them I don't want you slamming anybody. I want this to be a day of Thanksgiving because that's what it was billed as originally. And a couple of them got out of line, and then so with him, we interviewed him, we talked to him, we called him 3 times, and he was supposed to be there, and he didn't.
10 seconds, guys.
And he takes money from the governor.
Stand by for my cue.
All the money.
Hey, welcome back to the Chips and Salsa Show. I can't believe this must be a good show. It's going fast. This is our last segment, and we're gonna just rock and roll here. And we kept with us. I'm Alice Lauder, by the way, and George Ortiz is here on my left. But he's certainly always right on the right side of things. But he just happens to sit on my left. But we do have candidate Charles Loftus, and he is running in LD 20. That's Legislative District 20 for the Senate.
Yes, ma'am.
And we also kept Reverend Clyde Bowen, and he is with ARC, and that's, I'm gonna say this right, I hope, Arizona American African Republican Committee. Ta-da!
.org on our new website.
Oh,
by the way.
.org, very nice. And I'm gonna toss it to the Rev for a minute. We have to do our cocotas as a whole enchilada still, but he's got some really delightful news that you have to hear about.
We consider this a better day news. One thing that the ARC has always stood for in building community is we had created the first Emancipation Proclamation Observance Day here and morphed that into a Black History Month. We've always been concerned about human trafficking. We believe that that's what was happening during slavery. We believe that was wrong. We believe it's against God's law. It's against everyone's law. And up until this day, we have had an issue of human trafficking with young children and young boys and girls. And one of the ways they were able to get these people was through Backpage. And Backpage was usually on the New Times or Bachelor Beat or one of these kind of places. And we were so happy to find out that yesterday the Department of Justice, along with the Trump administration, shut down their website, went after them all over the world, and struck a blow for freedom, struck a blow for our children, because we remember that we do all of this for our children. So thank you so much, President Trump. Thank you so much, people from the DOJ. And thank you, mostly God, for allowing this to happen.
That is right on. We're so happy about that. Okay, we're gonna get to our cocotasos now, George. You ready? Would you like to explain? Oh, you went to go see the movie
I went-
Coco, huh?
I went in fact, yesterday we saw the movie Coco, and it's by Disney and Pixar, and it's about the
Come on, you
the
saw it. I
Spanish,
didn't.
well, the Spanish what do they call it?
Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos.
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead, and the kid goes back and visits some of his relatives, and it's all cartoons, but it's such a good movie for anybody that wants to know a little bit more about Dia de los Muertos. I didn't know too much about it because I'm Puerto Rican and we don't celebrate Dia de los Muertos, but Mexicans do, and it's a great celebration that Mexicans do every year. And the movie is fantastic. Disney did a great job. The grandmother throws a slipper at one of the kids, and also at one of the guitar players that teaching the kid. And we call it the chanclazo, and that's what Alice calls it, the chanclazo. The cocotazo is when you get hit above on the noggin of your head, and for saying something stupid or dumb or doing something dumb. And that's but in other Hispanic cultures, it's the slipper that comes across. And in that movie, she throws a slipper really good. She hits a couple of people with the slipper. So it's something that I recommend you should see. I didn't like it at first, the beginning, but then I got really into it. So I think
Nice.
it's a good movie, a good cartoon
I
for
want
you
to
and
go
the
see
kids.
that. So
Coco. Yeah, it was
Thumbs up for that.
nominated.
Yeah.
Nice,
It's good. It's supposed to be very, very good.
nice. Also, Chappaquiddick's out. I wanna go
Oh,
see
It came
Chappaquiddick?
out today.
that. Wanna go
Being born
see
and raised
that.
in Massachusetts.
When I got
my
pissed
daddy-
off, about Chappaquiddick, why did they wait so long for the truth to come out? He killed that lady, and the Kennedys covered it up, and it's a sickening story, and everybody should watch it to get the history of it. But it's a sickening story of our history, how things were covered up in the past because they were Kennedys.
And this man
That's all I have
continued
to say about
be-
that.
to have a political career. So let's go to the Kokataso nominations. How about that? Okay. So, gentlemen, you get to participate too. I'm gonna tell you what the Kokatasos are, and then choose the best one that you think. Okay. Number 1, teens have a new challenge: snorting condoms. Oh my gosh.
Maybe I should go back to the soap.
Well,
Oh my gosh, it's
hope they,
terrible.
hope they take out what they were created for,
Ugh.
out of the condom.
Ugh. Number 2, Comedy Central comedian, and her name is Nikki Glasser. I looked it up. Why are people still allowed to have 5 kids? Did you see that? That was her tweet, I think. Or she said that. She might have said it. May not have been a tweet. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, the feds fund $30,000 to on a grant to research how to teach people to cook. Okay.
They should have.
text
They
always
should have
works.
gave me money to learn how to cook, because I still don't know how to cook.
I take some of that too. Okay. Number 4, Alyssa Milano posts a racially charged tweet about the NRA, and I looked it up, and it said if the NRA or NRA TV were run by brown or black people, it would be labeled a terrorist organization with hate propaganda programming that incites violence. So that was number 4.
Big
Number 5,
Kokataso.
Planned Parenthood fined $120,000 for failing to disclose the Clinton contributions as required by law. Did you hear about that one?
Well done.
Yeah.
It was Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Planned Parenthood gave $120,000. I think it was to Hillary's campaign, and they didn't disclose it. Big boo-boo. Now, I want to also add your Benson cartoon to that, number 6, and make that number 6. All right? Is that okay? for
Oh,
everyone?
sure,
I think
sure, I'm
that's
on
number
it.
6.
Uh,
All right.
That'll maybe change my
Yeah, right, okay.
number. But
So let's vote now. George, what do you pick?
I like number 1.
Number 1?
I think the kids are going crazy. Snorting condoms. Unbelievable.
I saw a picture of it.
Oh, how about you, Charles? What do you say?
Could I have a half of one? That last one?
The last one? The
Planned
cartoon?
Parenthood get fined 100
half
for
point?
the 120,000.
Okay, we'll do a Kokataso for that one and Chaplas for the other. How about you, Charles? What's your number 1?
I'm still stuck on number 1. I'm trying to figure out what are they doing?
They pull it in and pull it through or something. I was explaining to him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
If you watch James T. Harris, he did a really cool thing. He got a video and he said, "Okay, I'm going to do it. My boss told me to do it. Here I go. No, I'm not going to do that stupid thing." So do you vote for that one?
I vote for that one. That was just
Okay.
out there.
All right.
It's beyond pause.
All right. I go to the directors now. Director Brandon, what do you say?
Numeral
Número
tres.
3. Oh.
Oh.
I think that's the stuff people overlook. It's wasteful spending. If we just cleaned up that stuff, we'd have a lot of money.
I agree. Okay, so number Steve, who do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of like that. I was thinking 3, but I mean, I learned to cook like from grandma, and even back in the day in high school. Remember we had home ec,
Yeah.
and they taught you to make Rice Krispies and bake a pie. So that's kind of silly, but I don't know. Alyssa Milano, I used to like her as an actress, and that's just pure ignorance.
You wanna vote for
her? Yeah, I gotta go number 4. It's just NRA's is getting attacked every which way.
There's so many good ones.
And I want to say that since I actually met Alyssa Milano when I worked in Scottsdale, she was at an event that I helped host. I think that it's so ridiculous and so hurtful and so not helpful for what she said that makes no sense whatsoever. I'm surprised at her, actually. I didn't know her to be that kind of person. But along with what you said about the racism and the divisiveness in Benson, it's just more of the same. So I'll go along with number 4 and 4.
Number 4, Alyssa.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have 2 for Alyssa, 1 for the feds, and then 2 for the snorting condoms. Whenever I see, it's like every week something comes out. Kids that bored, they have to do that. There's so much going on. It just amazes me. So there's so many things, and this is always a hard decision for me, but I have to go with the snorting condoms. I have to, because that is so stupid. And they go, well, my kid, I'd say like, you're lucky that's all that's gonna happen to you in condoms, because there's something else gonna happen to you. So it looks like that's the winner, the condoms. Snorting.
Alright.
Teens have a new challenge, snorting condoms. Okay, now let's do the positive stuff. We're gonna choose the whole enchilada. Oh, did you want a quick comment?
Oh, no, I got a positive stuff.
Okay, I'll
When
say
you go-
these, and
yeah.
if you have another one to offer, you certainly can.
Okay.
Okay, we have, number one is a patent pending, Burrell student Robin Marks working to improve prosthetic limbs. That was kind of a cool story. And you can always go to our Facebook site, Chips Litter and Salsa Show, and look at these.
This is for the whole enchilada. This is a good award.
Now, this is number two. The last Parkland shooting survivor gets out of the hospital. I just have to tell you real quick. This gentleman, his name is Anthony. He is originally, Venezuela is his home country. He has had a third of his lung removed. He was the most gravely wounded. He was shot twice in the abdomen, and they call him the real Iron Man. His attorney, I want to tell you too, is suing because he says the systems at that high school failed, and that Anthony is the poster child for everything gone wrong. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and vote, and then we're going to go around. Oh, do you have another one to add?
I was just going to mention, because what George said about Puerto Rico, that I found out that the students from Howard University, instead of going on spring break and going down to Mexico or over to Lake that we have here, partying, in other words, they went over to Puerto Rico and they helped to clean up. And I just want to tell everybody out there and every student out there that this is what God actually intended you to do. Party a little bit less and help out a little bit more, and God bless you.
That's a fantastic one. Okay, I'm going to vote, and I think that would be it's really hard to decide, but I've got to vote for Anthony. I think he's just such a hero, and I'm going to give him a point. Okay, let's go with Mr. Loftus. What do you say?
Alice, you asked me a little earlier if I heard about this. I heard about it. I saw it. This kid is amazing. He stood at a door, held the door shut while the murderer, he's not a gunman, he's not a shooter, he is the murderer,
Thank you.
shot this poor kid 5 times. This kid come from a socially disadvantaged area. He has a lot of healing to do, but he is a hero. And I know a lot of heroes in my life. This man is a hero. This young man's a hero.
All right, vote for him. All right, let's go to George. What do you think?
I'll have to go number 2.
The Parkland shooter. Okay, and let's go back to Reverend Bowman.
What were the choices again?
So you have the patent pending, Robin Marks and the prosthetic limbs,
Uh-huh.
the Parkland shooting hero, and that's
Uh-huh.
Anthony, or your admission about the Puerto Rican students.
I would say under the circumstances, I think that what happened in Parkland, we need to just remember that those are our children. They have a right to say they don't want to get their butts shot off. I certainly would not want that when I was in school, so that's the one number 2.
And it's a very good mention on the Puerto Rican
Yeah.
students. I like that. Okay, gentlemen, directors. Okay, you say number 2 also? How about you? Okay, both say, it's unanimous. This kid is just amazing. Please go to our Facebook site and read about this kid. He was just fantastic. And just think if we had more, and we do. Here's the thing. While we have kids snorting condoms, we have wonderful kids like this still. They just don't get the attention, and they really need to.
It's a good point to make, and one to remember that this is a small minority, and we all did dumb things, and some kids talk about bath salts or whatever they were doing, and ever since we've been kids have been kids, and this is going to go away. 6 months from now, they'll be doing something else.
Absolutely.
A hero, young
A hero.
immigrant.
Really, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to thank everybody who came. It's been a great show. Alice, you're George. That's Reverend Bowen.
Thank
Charles
you.
Loftus, number 20.
God bless you.
And Steve and Bren, our directors.
And we'll
Thanks,
have
everybody.
Moses
Thanks, Chips.
Sanchez next week.
Have a
All
wonderful
right.
weekend, and the Chips and Salsa Show will be back on Saturday at 4. Walk on.
All right.
Bye. And we're clear.
Clear on Facebook.
All right. Good one.
Thank
Thank